Hello and welcome, live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Gautam Roy, and coming up in the next hour, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates India's longest cable bridge in the state of Gujarat, also inaugurates 5 AIIMS hospitals, lays foundation stones of several projects in Rajkot. US NSA says Washington, Egypt, Qatar and Israel have come to an understanding over the basic contours of a hostage and temporary ceasefire deal with Hamas. Netanyahu says not sure if it will work out yet. Former US President Donald Trump extends his winning streak, beats Nikki Haley in her home turf, South Carolina, in the Republican primary. But she says she'll fight on. And India need 152 runs for a series win against England in the Ranchi Test. Ashwin picks up his 35th 5-wicket Test haul, equaling Anil Kumble's feat. Well, first up, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi laid foundation stones and dedicated to the nation multiple development projects worth over $500 million in Gujarat's Dwarka. Besides offering prayers at the Dwarkadhish temple, the PM also dived down to the submerged city. Inaugurating Sudarshan Setu, a 2.32-kilometer long cable-stayed bridge in the country, the PM asserted that this is a new look, new India.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Sunday went underwater in the deep sea and prayed at the site where the submerged city of Dwarka is located. The PM described it as a divine experience and said it made him feel connected to an ancient era of spiritual grandeur.
आज जब मैं गहरे समुद्र के भीतर द्वारिका जी के दर्शन कर रहा था, तो मैं पुरातन वही भव्यता, वही दिव्यता मनोमन अनुभव कर रहा था। मेरा मन बहुत गदगद है, मैं भाव विभोर हूं। दशकों तक जो सपना संजोया हो और उसे आज उस पवित्र भूमि को स्पर्श कर करके पूरा हुआ होगा, आप कल्पना कर सकते हैं मेरे भीतर कितना अद्भुत आनंद होगा।
The day also saw PM Modi inaugurating and laying foundation stones of multiple development projects in Gujarat's Dwarka. Realizing a dream which holds significance for both the locals and pilgrims visited the revered Dwarkadhish temple, the PM inaugurated Oka-Pet Dwarka Signature Bridge, also known as Sudarshan Setu in Dwarka.
इस सुदर्शन सेतु का निर्माण यह भी भगवान श्री कृष्ण ने मेरे ही भाग्य में लिखा था। मुझे खुशी है कि मैं परमात्मा का आदेश का पालन करके इस दायित्व को निभा पाया।
The bridge is an unmatched example of engineering, spanning 2.32 kilometers, built at a cost of over $117 million and is the longest cable-stayed bridge in the country. Dwarka is an ancient city linked closely with Lord Krishna and is a hub of grandeur and prosperity. The bridge has peacock feathers, verses from Bhagavad Gita and Sudarshan Chakra inscribed on it. The day also saw Prime Minister Modi offering prayers at the Dwarkadhish temple, one of the Saptapuri and included in the Char Dham. He also took the blessings of Sharda Peet Shankaracharya.
सुंदर द्वारों और ऊंचे भवनों वाली ये पुरी पृथ्वी पर शिखर जैसी होगी। कहते हैं भगवान विश्वकर्मा ने खुद इस द्वारिका नगरी का निर्माण किया था।
PM Modi reiterated the importance of balanced approach of development and heritage. He said the new infra being built in Dwarka Puri and the new identity of Sudarshan Setu will give an experience of divinity. He added that the glorious picture of a strong India has once again been strengthened.
The PM also visited Rajkot, in the same state during the day, where he dedicated to the nation and laid the foundation stones for multiple development projects. These included the dedication of 5 new aims to the nation for better medical services across the country.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi unveiled and laid the foundation stone of multiple development projects worth more than $5.6 billion in Gujarat's Rajkot. With a focus on extending tertiary healthcare in the country, Prime Minister dedicated 5 All India Institute of Medical Sciences at Rajkot, Bhatinda, Raebareli, Kalyani and Mangalagiri. Prime Minister also laid the foundation stone and dedicated to the nation more than 200 healthcare infrastructure projects.
10 दिन के भीतर भीतर 7 नए एम्स का शिलान्यास और लोकार्पण हुआ है। इसलिए ही मैं कहता हूं कि जो 6-7 दशकों में नहीं हुआ, उससे कई गुना तेजी से हम देश का विकास करके देश की जनता के चरणों में समर्पित कर रहे हैं।
Other dedicated projects were in the sector of road, rail, energy and tourism. Prime Minister highlighted his government's achievements in providing basic amenities to citizens. Prime Minister also accused Congress leaders of doing only politics in Raebareli, while his government fulfilled its promise of giving aims to Raebareli.
मैंने यूपी के रायबरेली को एम्स की गारंटी दी थी। कांग्रेस के शाही परिवार ने रायबरेली में सिर्फ राजनीति की, काम मोदी ने किया। मैंने रायबरेली एम्स का 5 साल पहले शिलान्यास किया और आज लोकार्पण किया। आपके सेवक ने गारंटी पूरी की।
Prime Minister Modi also underlined that the mission of Viksit Bharat or Developed India gets stronger when the citizens of India get empowered. Inauguration of these projects reflect government's priority of all-round development in the state of Gujarat. Bureau Report, DD India.
Well, let's talk about this development drive. Joining me now is Shishir Sinha, senior economic journalist. Shishir, good evening to you. What do you make of the kind of projects the Prime Minister dedicated to the nation also laid the foundation stones of today? They covered a wide range of categories from health to energy to infrastructure, rail, road and of course tourism as well.
See, at this moment we are talking about the 3 targets. First target is to achieve $5 trillion. Then the second target is $7 trillion. And the next target is $12 trillion. And these 3 targets have to be completed by 26-27, 2030 and 2033-34. And finally, we have the target of developed India by 2047, when we will have the $35 trillion economy. Now, why these projects are important? We need to understand that whenever we talk about the growth of India, whenever we talk about 6.5% or 7% growth of India, all the states need to develop at a faster pace, because growth of India is nothing but the sum of growth of various states. Now, when a developed state is doing more, and when the developed state is providing impetus to other states, that also help in developing the states which are lagging in the overall development prospect. So, if you go by all the projects, whether we talk about health, whether we talk about railroad, whether we talk about solar energy, all these projects are multi-state one, not just the Gujarat one. If you take the pipeline project between 2 to 3 states. If you talk about AIMS, there he inaugurated AIMS in 5 other states, 5 states total. So, I mean, all the states, the projects are happening, the function is happening in Gujarat or in any other state, but the projects are related with all the states or the various states. And that is the need for achieving the target. All the states have to grow simultaneously, and that is what we are seeing the inauguration as well as the foundation laying of various projects.
Yes, and it also brings in the aspect of holistic development that is being targeted, does it not? Because it's not just about energy or infrastructure, roads and rail, it's also about health and other services, the things people really need, the common person really needs to ensure that life is easy.
I mean, when we talk about ease of doing business, it also associated with ease of living. And when we talk about ease of living, there the health has a very important role. We all know that the cost of health services have been very high, and the economic survey has also highlighted that out-of-pocket expenses are affecting the overall financial position of an individual. So when we are talking about setting of aims like a structure in various states, when we are talking about improving the healthcare system all over the country, that is going to help, if you remember, reducing the financial burden on an individual and at the same time improving the productivity of the individual. So it will have a combined effect, and that will help in overall economic activity of the country.
Hmm. And when he talks about the opposition, how the opposition ruled, especially the Congress, he talks about Rai Bareli as well, in terms of how an AIMS was brought up there by his government and wasn't done by the ruling family of the Congress, as they have been dubbed. How does that comparison really stand when you compare what happened in the years prior to this government coming to power, and that was in 2014, it's been 10 years now, and what's happened in the last 10 years?
The important thing is that what is the time taken for completion of the project? When he says that I did the foundation and now I'm inaugurating it or I'm dedicating to the nation, that means you are doing within 5 years or say at the best 10 years, because this government has been in power for last 10 years. So if this kind of project completion period is taking place, it has two advantages. One, the cost overrun will not take place, and that means more and more money will be available for the other projects also. And at the same time, the impact of the benefit of the project will reach the people early than what it was projected. So these are the two things which we need to understand, that what happened prior to 2014 when the completion period was very long, and now when the completion period is short, it is not just a political messaging, but more important, it has a lot of economic implication. As I told you that there is a no cost overrun, that means more money will be available for the other projects.
Yes, and if you don't look at this entire activity that this government and particularly Prime Minister Modi is doing from an election standpoint, because the elections are around the corner, people won't take it as something that is pretty obvious. But how reassuring is it when Prime Minister Modi does inaugurations of different projects at the same time as laying foundation stones? Because when you consider the history of laying of foundation stones in our country, it's not a very rosy picture in the past.
Certainly, and we have seen that just before the election in many states as well as in center, there used to be foundation laying ceremony of say 100 projects or 150 projects. But the real question was what happened after the foundation laying. And we have seen that the projects are, I mean, almost delayed by sometime it is 10 years. I was just going through data collected by the management division of Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. There are projects which have seen a delay of 20 years or 25 years, which is certainly not acceptable at this moment, considering we have limited resources and we have to think about how best we can use those resources. So, I mean, whether it is a time of election or not the election, the important thing is that if you're laying the foundation, how soon this is going to be completed. And going by the track record during the last 10 years, I believe, and it's my opinion, that these projects for which the foundations have been laid today, you may see in next 3 to 4 years the completion of those projects. That will be a real development. That is a real thing which are going to take place.
Well, certainly, and that is what is required if India has to be a developed nation by 2047 when we complete 100 years of independence. Thanks a lot for joining us and talking about it, Shishir Sinha. And still to come on DD India News are The US and British forces carry out additional strikes against the Houthis in Yemen. And South Korean doctors march to protest medical school quotas. The strike creates widespread chaos in hospitals. India that invents. India that innovates. India that excites. India that invites. Land of possibilities. Teeming with opportunities. Watch India Ideas each Thursday, 8 p.m. only on DD India. Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also lauded the strength and influence of women in Indian society during his last monthly radio broadcast, Man Ki Baat, before the general elections. He emphasized the importance of women's empowerment and encouraged first-time voters to participate in the upcoming elections and exercise their democratic right to vote. More in this report.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the nation on Akashvani, discussing various issues concerning the people of the country in his Man Ki Baat. Recognizing the strength of women, Prime Minister Narendra Modi stated that the success of women in various fields is highly inspiring.
आज भारत की नारी शक्ति हर क्षेत्र में प्रगति की नई ऊंचाइयों को छू रही है। कुछ वर्ष पहले तक किसने सोचा था कि हमारे देश में गांव में रहने वाली महिलाएं भी ड्रोन उड़ाएंगी, लेकिन आज ये संभव हो रहा है। आज तो गांव-गांव में ड्रोन दीदी की इतनी चर्चा हो रही है, हर किसी की जुबान पर नमो ड्रोन दीदी ये चल पड़ा है। हर कोई इसके विषय में चर्चा कर रहा है।
Emphasizing the significance of technology in wildlife conservation, Prime Minister highlighted that the government's efforts in recent years have led to an increase in the number of tigers in the country.
इस वर्ष वर्ल्ड वाइल्ड लाइफ डे की थीम में डिजिटल इनोवेशन को सर्वोपरि रखा गया है। चंद्रपुर जिले में इंसान और बाघों के संघर्ष को कम करने के लिए आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस की मदद ली जा रही है। यहाँ गांव और जंगल की सीमा पर कैमरे लगाए गए हैं। जब भी कोई बाघ गांव के करीब आता है, तब एआई की मदद से स्थानीय लोगों को मोबाइल पर अलर्ट मिल जाता है।
Referring to the Melghat Tiger Reserve in the Indian western state of Maharashtra, Prime Minister Modi commended the efforts of the tribal families residing in Khatkali village near the reserve.
महाराष्ट्र के मेलघाट टाइगर रिजर्व के पास खटकली गांव में रहने वाले आदिवासी परिवारों ने सरकार की मदद से अपने घर को होम स्टे में बदल दिया है। ये उनकी कमाई का बहुत बड़ा साधन बन रहा है। इसी गांव में रहने वाले कोरकू जनजाति के प्रकाश जामकर जी ने अपनी 2 हेक्टेयर जमीन पर 7 कमरों वाला होम स्टे तैयार किया है।
Prime Minister emphasized that India's beauty lies in its diversity and the myriad colors of culture. Recognizing the hard work of Muhammad Mansha from Gandharwal, Jammu and Kashmir, Prime Minister praised his efforts in preserving the Gojri language.
जम्मू कश्मीर में गांदरबल के मोहम्मद मानशाह जी पिछले 3 दशकों से गोजरी भाषा को संरक्षित करने के प्रयासों में जुटे रहे हैं। वे गुजर बकरवाल समुदाय से आते हैं, जो कि एक जनजातीय समुदाय है। चुनौतियों के बीच उनका अपनी भाषा को संरक्षित करने का संकल्प दृढ़ हुआ।
Prime Minister also touched upon various issues, including the use of AI in farming and weather forecasting. Syed Afzarul Hassan for DD India.
India's Minister for Petroleum and Natural Gas and Housing and Urban Affairs, Hardeep Singh Puri, laid the foundation stone for HPCL's gas network in the Godda-Dumka geographical area for PNG and CNG in Deoghar, Jharkhand. He also inaugurated Indian Oil's PNG under the City Gas Distribution Project. The implications of these projects are profound, promising to revolutionize the lives of residents and catalyze growth across commercial and industrial sectors.
So we have seen in other places, in the metropolitan cities, it's easy to get the CNG and the PNG gas collection, but now we are seeing it reaching it to the heartland also.
We are now in a situation where I think in the last round of bidding, we've covered 100%. And we've also taken a decision, if I remember correctly, that we are also going to take it now to the island territories. As I mentioned, this gas is of two kinds. One comes from crude oil, which is refined and distributed in cylinders. That also our network today, from 2014, it has gone up to 14 crores, it has gone up to 32 crores and is rising. But in addition, our idea is to take piped natural gas to every household in the country. That reduces the cost, where with the greater availability of gas, the gas available to households, which is 20% cheaper, by coming in direct, will become even cheaper. Right. Honorable Prime Minister's not effort, his resolve is to make all these utilities available to the consumer at the most affordable price.
Mentioned tier 2, tier 3 cities coming up, and also they are coming cheaper, like the CNG and the PNG, but that's what getting there. It's also cheaper in that sense.
No, it will get cheaper, because what happens is that you started with the cylinder gas. I mean, where is the refinery? From the refinery, it has to be taken to different points. So we are making that cheaper also. Right. Issue, I mean, today India, Bharat is one place where in the last 2 years the price of energy has actually come down. Now the energy which comes into your kitchen for your basic needs, and I said earlier you were dependent on coal, on firewood, on other toxic materials. Look at the impact, positive impact this has on the health budget and on the lives of ordinary people.
So that was the India's Minister for Petroleum and Natural Gas telling us that it is imperative that these initiatives taken forward, and the tier 2 and the tier 3 cities are getting benefit of this. With our person level, this is Tapash Bhattacharya for TD India from Delhi.
And in a latest development in the Israel-Hamas conflict, U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan has said that the United States, Egypt, Qatar and Israel have come to an understanding of the basic contours of a hostage deal in Gaza. However, Prime Minister Netanyahu cast doubt on the ongoing talks. Qatar will host mediated talks between Hamas and Israel, aiming to finalize an agreement on a truce this week. Representatives from both parties will travel to Cairo for further talks aimed at reaching an agreement. On the other hand, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in an interview said that he's working on the hostage deal and also said he's weeks away from total victory. The Israeli Armed Forces released a piece of footage on Sunday that showed the aftermath of a combat operation in the Abasan area in eastern Khan Yunis. The footage showed a rocket launcher, explosives, grenades, cartridges, Kalashnikov rifles and communication devices found in a medical laboratory. Israel's army on Sunday also released another video that showed the targeting of militants' facilities and operatives in the Gaza Strip. The Israeli military said that they had killed dozens of Hamas fighters and located weapons and launchers during the raid in that region in Gaza. Also, US and British forces carried out strikes against more than a dozen Houthi targets in Yemen, the latest round of military action against the Iran-linked group that continues to attack ships in the Gulf of Aden. The United States has carried out near daily strikes against the Houthis, who control the most populous parts of Yemen, and have said their attacks on shipping are in solidarity with Palestinians as Israel strikes Gaza. The strikes have so far failed to halt the Houthis' attacks, which have upset global trade and raised shipping rates. Saeed Absarul Hassan has filed this report.
In another effort to quell the Houthi militia in Yemen, The US and UK have conducted missile strikes on over a dozen targets inside Yemen. Warplanes from the US-led coalition launched a strike on the Yemeni capital Sana'a late on Saturday. Witnesses reported at least 4 missiles hitting the Al-Siana military camp located north of downtown Sana'a, resulting in significant explosions and fires. In a joint statement, they said that the military operation targeted 18 Houthi sites spread across 8 locations in Yemen. These included underground storage facilities for weapons and missiles, air defense systems, radar installations, and a helicopter. US Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said the strikes were meant to further disrupt and degrade the capabilities of the Iranian-backed Houthi militia. We will continue to make clear to the Houthi that they will bear the consequences if they do not stop their illegal attacks, which harms Middle Eastern economies, cause environmental damages, and disrupt the delivery of humanitarian aid to Yemen and other countries. Houthis have launched at least 7 strikes this week, targeting US and UK vessels in the Gulf of Aden and claimed responsibilities for the attack. The group's strikes are disrupting the vital Suez Canal shortcut that accounts for about 12% of global maritime traffic, forcing a longer and more expensive route around Africa. The European Union too has launched a naval mission to the Red Sea to restore and safeguard freedom of navigation. The strikes have so far failed to halt the Houthis' attack on vessels. After Gaza conflict, Houthis started targeting vessels crossing the Arabian and Red Sea. This has upset global trade and raised shipping rates. Syed Absarul Hassan for DT India.
Now, as the war between Russia and Ukraine enters into the 3rd year, Pope Francis on Sunday called for a diplomatic solution to the war in Ukraine that would lead to a just and lasting peace. While according to Volodymyr Zelensky's most recent peace plan, Ukraine and its allies might invite Russia to a future peace summit to talk about ending their 2-year-long conflict. The head of the Ukrainian presidential office, Andriy Yermak, said on Sunday that this invitation will be on Kyiv's terms, where Switzerland will host a summit to discuss a vision for peace.
The plan is as following. The first inaugural summit will take place in the near future in Switzerland. 2-date invitations have been prepared and will be sent to more than 160 countries.
Підготовлені і будуть відправлені на другому саміті.
At the second summit, there can be a situation in which we together invite representatives of the Russian Federation, where they will be presented with a plan in case whoever is representing the aggressor country at that time will want to genuinely end this war and return to a just peace.
Які з нами пройдуть цей.
Let's now take a look at some other developments across the world as well. Well, Portugal's 2-week official electoral campaign began on Sunday ahead of parliamentary elections scheduled for the 10th of March. The election is being held after a socialist government led by Antonio Costa collapsed last November following a corruption investigation. Qatar Energy Chief Saad Al-Kaabi announced on Sunday a new expansion of its liquefied natural gas production that will add a further 16 million tons per annum to existing expansion plans, bringing the total capacity to 142 million tons. South Korean doctors continue to protest in front of the presidential office against a government plan to increase medical school admissions. Over 8,400 doctors have joined the walkout in protest of the government's plan, raising fears about disruption to the medical system. And still to come on DD India News Hour, Donald Trump scores narrower than forecast win over Nikki Haley in her home state, South Carolina. And Australia's firefighters battled wildfires in Victoria. Australian Prime Minister promises support in the firefight.
In a world that never stops, where information shapes our reality, one app stands out, helps you stay ahead of time. Introducing the DD India app, your gateway to a world of news right at your fingertips. Your most trusted source of news goes global, goes digital. Explore a world of options, top stories, live updates, in-depth analysis, and more. Stay informed wherever you are. Real-time alerts keep you ahead of the curve always. The DD India app, connecting you to the world one story at a time. Download now and explore the world of knowledge, insights, and authentic information.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Gautam Roy, and before we go any further, another look at our top stories. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates India's longest cable bridge in the state of Gujarat. Also inaugurates 5 AIIMS hospitals, lays foundation stones for several projects worth billions in Rajkot. US NSA says Washington, Egypt, Qatar and Israel have come to an understanding over the basic contours of a hostage and temporary ceasefire deal with Hamas. Netanyahu says not sure if it will work out yet. Former US President Donald Trump extends his winning streak, beats Nikki Haley in her home state, South Carolina's Republican primary, but she says she'll fight on. Well, Donald Trump has beaten Nikki Haley once again in another primary for the Republican presidential candidacy, emerging triumphant. This time, his win has come in a state where Nikki Haley has been governor twice. Now, this may look really bad for her considering her previous losses as well, but she's still done better than what many polls had forecast, prompting her to promise that she'll stay in the race.
Former US President Donald Trump aced the Republican primaries in the state of South Carolina on Saturday. This was an easy win for Trump, which was also predicted in multiple opinion polls, despite having a litany of criminal charges.
We ran 2 great races, but there's never been a spirit like this. And I just want to say that I have never seen the Republican Party so unified as it is right now. Never been like that. America first. We're putting America first. First of all, my family. Right now, we're a laughing stock all over the world. Our country is going to be respected again, respected like never before.
Republican primary candidate Nikki Haley campaigned excessively in her native state, but only managed to gather 39.2% of the votes. The loss for Haley is also personal, as she had earlier been 2 times governor of South Carolina. However, she outperformed expectations from the opinion polls and insisted on staying in the presidential race.
The younger generation, my children's generation, knows it better than anyone. They deserve better. They deserve leadership. And so I will keep fighting for them and for you and for all of America. Today is not the end of our story. We'll keep fighting for America and we won't rest until America wins.
Till now, Trump has dominated all 5 contests in the states of Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, the US Virgin Islands, and now in Haley's home state.
Let's now talk about this further. We're joined by Dr. Rajan Kumar, School of International Studies at the Jawaharlal Nehru University in Delhi. Good evening, Dr. Kumar. What do you make of what's happening here? Donald Trump, it seems nothing and no one can stand in his way now. And Nikki Haley seems to be pretty much swimming against the tide.
Absolutely, Gautam, and thank you for having me here. And he's like Juggernaut. He's on a trajectory to win the candidature for this Republican. And South Carolina was very important for 2-3 reasons. First, because it was Nikki Haley's state where she was a governor, as you showed in your program twice, not once. The second, that the gap between the 2 leaders, Nikki Haley and Trump, is very high, and it would be extremely difficult for Nikki Haley to catch up in the future. Although she's saying that she's going to contest, she's going to continue the contest. But it's very likely that, when on Super Tuesday, that's after 10 days, when 16 states they'll vote together for the two candidates, that's the time probably she'll decide to withdraw. Now, the analysts and people are asking that why Nikki Haley is contesting when she knows that she's going to. See, it's very unlikely for Nikki Haley to win the candidature at this moment. The reasons being said by the scholars and the experts are: first, she is trying to create a profile for 2028 election. And number two, that she also thinks that in case there is some legal issue, because President Trump, ex-President Trump is facing a number of criminal charges,
Yes.
and some of the people believe that he might be indicted in one of the criminal cases, in which case he might be knocked out of the election process. In that condition, the candidate, the name of Nikki Haley might come that she is the likely candidate. So, but at this moment, the gap is very high. South Carolina is also important because, in the last 30 years or so, actually 40, 50 years, if you see, any candidate who has won Carolina, that candidate of the Republican Party, I'm saying, that he has contested the election from the Republican side. Exception was in 1980, I think. Otherwise, South Carolina is known to be the bellwether kind of, who is leading the flock kind of state. So from that perspective, this is important. It's almost certain that Trump would be the candidate. Only fear is that in case there are some charges which come up in the court, in case the trial starts in one of the criminal cases, he's facing a number of charges, as you know. So in that situation, Nikki Haley's candidature would be considered important. Otherwise, Trump is on a trajectory to win the nomination of the Republican Party, that's for sure.
Okay. You mentioned Trump's lead, but a flip side or an argument for Nikki Haley or in favor of Nikki Haley could be that the polls that took place before the actual primary taking place had projected that she will lose by about 30%, which she hasn't. So the gap is narrow compared to that. So is that something that could be considered positive, or is it because in South Carolina it's an open primary and even Democrats can come in and vote for the Republican candidate?
I think, the central argument being put forward by Nikki Haley is that, in many of the opinion polls where she was put against, hypothetically I'm saying, she was put against Biden, and she did better than Trump in that hypothetical opinion polls. So that is the kind of argument that she's trying to put forward. She's also trying to win some of the voters who are not very happy with Trump, who are a Republican, but who do not agree with some of the policies of Trump on abortion or immigration, etc. So she's also saying that Trump is a very divisive figure. She's also very critical of Trump's policy towards Russia, Ukraine, etc. So she is trying to project as somebody who takes the middle side among the Republicans. So she's also saying that if Trump becomes the candidate, many of the people who are supporting, many of the Republican Republican voters who are supporting Nikki Haley at the moment, they might vote for Biden. So that is the kind of argument that is coming from the Nikki Haley side. But as you said, that 30% came to 20%, but even then, 20% is a big number. Let me tell you, in a state which was, Nikki Haley's state. So I was listening to Texas governor in an interview just now, and he is saying that it's a big margin between the two leaders, and there is no way Trump can be stopped in the coming days when Super Tuesday, when 16 states come together to decide. So that would be the time probably she'll decide to withdraw. But many people feel that she's just preparing and trying to create a very strong profile for the future election. Or she is trying to say that in case Trump is indicted, in that situation, she'll be the alternative.
Mm-hmm. But even an indictment, does that really outlaw Trump from contesting?
And that's an important question. In many situations, it doesn't, but it might.
Even for that matter, a conviction.
Yeah. According to U.S. laws, unless even if you're convicted, you can fight the election. But if he's convicted and suppose he is sent to jail, or if that kind of situation emerges, then it will be difficult. Also, when he's convicted, then many of the people, because the process is going to continue for some time, so many of the people, at least till March, they'll think that that it would not be right for the Republican Party to have a candidate who has been convicted. So in that case, the entire situation might change, the argument might change, and in that situation, they might look for the second best alternative, which is Nikki Haley.
Okay, since we're talking about so many hypotheticals, I'll throw in another one. If that happens, if the Republican Party says that Trump can run, he can pretty much again remain in the fray as an independent. He might split the Republican Party itself.
I think in US, it's impossible to win an election as being independent. Let me tell you that even in this election, the Robert Kennedy, the famous Kennedy's he is also planning to fight. He has not declared, but he is likely to be the independent candidate. And many of the people feel in one of the polls, etc., they showed that he was having a support of from 6 to 11%. So, but again, 6 to 11% is not the number with which you can win in a country like US.
Yeah, he'll be a big spoiler for Joe Biden, though.
Yeah. So he might spoil the other parties, but it's impossible to win as an independent, and he's not going to fight as an independent. He'll be, in fact, what is the possibility in case he's sent to jail or he's say, for instance, indicted, convicted, etc. Indicted is already convicted. There is also a possibility of huge, massive polarization and a possibility of civil war also. So that kind of situation might emerge, which is not good for a country like America. And that's the reason that Trump is saying that that this should be decided as soon as possible. Why? Because on 24th or 26th of March, one of the criminal trials will start in one of the courts in US. So he is trying to wind up everything before that. So he is thinking that his candidate will be declared before that, so that he can polarize the.
The Stormy Daniels case you're talking about.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see what happens. March 25th is not that far off. By that time, it seems the candidacy will be more or less sealed in the favor of Donald Trump with the way things are going. But let's see what happens. Thanks a lot for joining us for the moment, Professor. Now, Belarus President Alexander Lukashenko has confirmed on Sunday that he will stand for re-election in 2025. Lukashenko, who has ruled Belarus since 1994, is one of Russian President Vladimir Putin's closest allies. Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has pledged on Sunday to provide whatever support is needed to assist Victoria State in days-long wildfire emergency that has razed homes after authorities warned extreme heat could fan the blazes this week.
This is a very difficult time, and over this period we've seen floods, we've seen bushfires, we've seen heat waves, we've seen these events that have had a real impact on Australians. It's a reminder of the need for us to be vigilant, for us to continue to work and act on the threat that is climate change, with an increased number of extreme weather events and increased intensity of those events.
The wildlife emergency has killed livestock, destroyed 6 homes and forced more than 2,000 people to leave western towns and head to the city of Ballarat in the west of the state capital, Melbourne. Australia is in the grip of an El Nino weather pattern, which is typically associated with extreme phenomena such as wildfires, cyclones and droughts. More than 15 bushfires were burning in Victoria on Sunday, with the most serious blaze ranked at the second highest danger rating near several remote towns, according to the state's emergency authority. Around 1,000 firefighters, supported by more than 50 aircraft, have battled the flames since they began. And still to come on DD News are: Oppenheimer and The Bear dominate the star-studded 30th Annual Screen Actors Guild Awards 2024. And R. Ashwin's record 5-wicket haul against England guides India to commanding position in the Ranchi Test.
to Jaipur.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I am Gautam Roy. India's Road, Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari virtually addressed the Gulf Maharashtra Business Forum Global Mahabiz Conference in Dubai on Sunday. The minister outlined India's ambitious goal of becoming carbon neutral by 2070. He also highlighted innovative solutions such as self-sustainable aviation fuel derived from biomass, bio-CNG production and bamboo-based bioethanol refining. The chief guest at the business forum, Sheikha Jawahar Al Khalifa, said UAE and India relations are far beyond the business and recently inaugurated Hindu temple shows respect of each other's culture.
Have with India and the Indian people is something that is much stronger than only business. And this will always go on. And this is one of the reasons why we are all here today. I would like also to mention one of the biggest achievements of the UAE government lately that has been done, the first in the region to have the first Hindu temple, and that's in Abu Dhabi.
Well, there you are. That's how the event rolled out. The Transport Minister had addressed this event in Dubai. Now, India's Minister for Information and Broadcasting, Anurag Singh Thakur, announced on Sunday the establishment of a regional facilitation office for the Central Board Film Certification in Chandigarh. The move aims to promote ease of doing business for filmmakers in the region. Making this announcement at the closing ceremony of the Chitra Bharati Film Festival in Chandigarh, the minister said that every year more than half of the 2,500 films made in the world are made on Indian soil.
तो उनमें से लगभग 50% तो भारत में ही बनती है। और आज अगर हम बात करें फीचर फिल्म्स की, डॉक्यूमेंट्रीज की, शॉर्ट फिल्म की या ओटीटी पर कंटेंट बनना हो, आज उसके आगे बढ़कर भी सोशल मीडिया के इतने प्लेटफॉर्म्स आ गए कि हर कोई कंटेंट क्रिएटर बन गया है।
Let's now take a look at some of the other updates from that have been coming in from around the country. India's Home Minister Amit Shah on Sunday addressed booth-level workers of the BJP at Khajuraho. The minister asked BJP workers to resolve to give the Narendra Modi government a third term at the centre with more than 400 seats. He also asserted that the upcoming polls for India's lower house of parliament were about making India a superpower and the world's third largest economy. In India's state of Uttar Pradesh, at least 4 people were killed and around 8 others injured after a blast at a firecracker factory triggered a fire on Sunday. Fire engines and ambulances rushed to the spot to transport the injured to the nearest hospital. Rescue efforts were underway till last reports came in to find more survivors. Now, as part of events planned to celebrate the 48th Raising Day of the Indian Coast Guard, a day at sea was conducted by ICG Regional Headquarters of Chennai Harbour on Sunday. On this occasion, various guests, including families of Indian Coast Guard personnel, officials from Tamil Nadu State Administration, witnessed the operational prowesses and capabilities at sea of the Indian Coast Guard. Hollywood stars gathered in Los Angeles for the 30th Annual Screen Actor Guild Awards, marking a significant event for the industry post-strike. Just like the Emmys, Oppenheimer and The Bear dominated the awards. Take a look.
The red carpet was a spectacle of glamour as Hollywood stars arrived in dazzling outfits, capturing the attention of the audience. This ceremony followed a tumultuous year for the industry, marked by a 4-month strike by SAG-AFTRA against Hollywood studios, demanding better pay and safeguards against the increasing use of artificial intelligence. The award winners were carefully chosen by SAG-AFTRA members, whose film choices hold significant weight, as this voting bloc represents the largest group for the upcoming Academy Awards. The ceremony also saw a heartfelt tribute to the legendary Barbra Streisand, who received a Lifetime Achievement Award for her multifaceted contributions to the entertainment industry. The historical drama Oppenheimer continued its reign of recognition, securing the coveted prize for outstanding performance by a cast in a motion picture. Director Christopher Nolan's vision resonated with the actors, leading to individual accolades for Cillian Murphy and Robert Downey Jr. Additionally, the film's success mirrored its recent sweep at the 2024 BAFTA Awards. Martin Scorsese's Killer of the Flower Moon was awarded the Best Actress honor for Lily Gladstone, while Divine Joy Randolph received the Best Supporting Actress award for her stellar performance in The Holdovers. This night celebrated exceptional performances across both film and television.
And let's talk cricket as well. Spin twins Ravichandran Ashwin and Kuldeep Yadav combined to rout England in their second innings and put India on course for a series-clinching victory in the fourth test on Sunday. Off-spinner Ashwin and Kuldeep shared 9 wickets on a turning track to bundle out England for 145 inside 2 sessions. Ashwin picked up his 35th 5-wicket haul in tests to equal Anil Kumble's feat. Opener Zach Crawley top-scored for the English with 60 runs. Chasing 192 for a victory, India cruised to 40 for no loss at stumps on day 3. The hosts are 2-1 up in the 5-test series, and this will be the clincher. Indian spinner Ravichandran Ashwin surpassed Anil Kumble for the most wickets taken in tests in India during the 3rd day of the 4th test against England in Ranchi. Ashwin picked the wickets of Ben Duckett on Ollie Pope to take his tally to 351. Kumble had amassed 350 wickets in 63 test matches in India. Now, the Indian Army has emerged as the overall winner of the 4th edition of the Khelo India Winter Games, which were held in northern towns of Leh and Gulmarg. The Indian Army teams bagged 20 medals that included 10 gold, 5 silver and 5 bronze medals. The events included snowboarding, alpine skiing, Nordic skiing, snow mountaineering, ice hockey, ice skating and more. The games were conducted in 2 phases. The first phase was held in Leh from the 2nd to the 6th of February, while the second phase was conducted from the 21st to the 25th of February in Gulbarga town of Jammu and Kashmir. 3-time Olympian Deepika Kumari marked a triumphant return to the international stage by winning the gold medal in the women's individual recurve category at the Asia Cup Archery Stage 1 tournament in Baghdad city of Iraq on Sunday. Deepika defeated Simranjeet Kaur 6-2 in an all-India final to win the title. Meanwhile, Dheeraj Bomadevara trumped compatriot and Olympian Tarundeep Rai 7-3 to win the men's recurve archery title. India finished the Baghdad meet with 14 medals that included 9 golds, 4 silvers and 1 bronze. Indian shuttler Pramod Bhagat retained his gold medal at the Para Badminton World Championships in Thailand's Pattaya. After losing the first game, Bhagat scripted a fine comeback to defeat Daniel Bethel of the United Kingdom 14-21, 21-15 and 21-14 in SL3 category. Earlier in the day, Suhas Yatiraj and Krishna Nagar bagged the gold medals in their respective matches. Suhas beat Indonesia's Freddy Setiawan in straight games in the SL4 final, while Krishna got the better of China's Lin Nili to secure 22-20, 22-20 victory in the SH6 final. Indian shuttlers bagged 18 medals, including 3 golds, 4 silvers and 11 bronzes in the tournament. Now, this tournament ended on Sunday. Now, a few kilometers off the coast of northern Germany, researchers have found a stone wall up to 11,000 years old at a depth of 21 meters in the Baltic Sea. The stone wall caught the eye of marine geologist Jacob Giersen when he was conducting seabed surveys with students from the University of Kiel for training purposes. Prehistoric researchers are certain that the wall is at least 10,000 years old, but more than likely 11,000 years old. And on that intriguing note, that's all we have for this edition of DN India News Hour. But do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X formerly known as Twitter, as well as Instagram. We'll be back with more news and updates as they break here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.